Tacama Gold, the local consortium engaging in the cultivation of corn and soybean on the Tacama Savanna in Region 10, is reporting satisfaction with the progress of the project thus far, indicating that a record 3,000 acres of soybean is being prepared for the next crop. This is an increase of 2,500 acres over the last crop, and is solid evidence of the success of the project thus far, based on the results and experiences of the last 3 crops since the startup of the mega farm just 2 years ago. Tacama Gold comprises 5 major businesses engaged mainly in the poultry and the poultry feed industries, and at least 1 from the timber industry. These are Bounty Farm Limited, Eden Farms, Royal Chicken, Alfam Enterprises Inc., and 1 other. While the conglomerate is investing in the establishment and development of the fields for the cultivation of the corn and soybean, government has also invested in the project to the tune of $500 million in 2022 and has earmarked another $500 million this year for key infrastructure in the Tacama Savannas. Already one aspect of this upgrade has been completed, that is a 46-kilometer stretch of road from Ichuni to the project site and on to the waterfront, where a massive wharf is to be constructed. In addition to the wharf, work is 85% completed on the construction of 3 20,000-ton silos and 1 80-ton dryer for the harvested corn and soybeans. Also being installed is a high-tech scale and a laboratory for grain analysis, all being funded by government, as it's part of the private-public partnership in this groundbreaking undertaking, a key part of the effort of reducing the import bill for stock feed imports, mainly corn and soybean. Mr. Raymond Imam is the project director and the principal of Alfam Enterprises Inc., a part of Tacama Gold. He talks to us about the ongoing work on the vitally needed infrastructure.
Here we are at the facility at Tacama, at the land-in, where we have the silos, a facility where we dry and store beans. This facility is being funded by the government, and we have an 8-ton capacity dryer and 3,000 tons silo. On the facility we have a scale, we have a scale house, and we have a lab to test and measure moisture of the grains, and we have accommodation for people to manage and operate the facility.
Preparatory works are currently ongoing at the site at the Tacama waterfront, where the wharf is to be completed. This wharf will be quite substantial, as it will feature a conveyor system for automated loading and unloading of vessels.
That wharf will help for the incoming of products such as limestone, and also for the outgoing of the beans and corn. Okay, the wharf, I think it's a 2-stage wharf, one with a conveyor system to move the beans and the kernels out, and also it's a loading dock to load other facility products such as in ton sack.
Tacama Gold has applied cutting-edge technology in the advancement of its investments in Guyana's intermediate savannas. This is evident in the machinery being used in land preparation, in harvesting, and in almost every other aspect of farm operations.
So what we're doing here is precision ag, where we have everything mapped out with our GPS on our machine, and we do a soil test and put that in our database, and we apply fertilizers and limestone based on that information. Also, our combines equipped with the same data system, so we merge the two together, and we know where to add and where not to add, so we increase our efficiency where fertilizer is concerned, adding to the land. What that means, we can do field prescription. We could know where and how much to apply in different zones, and we can do that at any hour, any time, because all information is in the clouds.
The corn and soybean mega farm currently occupies 30,000 acres of prime virgin savanna lands, of which just 3,000 acres is being prepared for cultivation for the second crop this year. It is anticipated that by 2025, approximately 15,000 acres of corn and soybean will be under cultivation. It is no wonder then that, despite the extreme challenges faced in farming in virgin sandy soil of the Tacama savannas, Tacama Gold continues to enjoy ever-improving crop yields, with the last harvest yield moving up to 3 tons per hectare, with the ideal yield of 3.5 tons per hectare now within reach for the second crop. Mr. David Fernandez of Bounty Farms Limited, another partner in Tacama Gold, shares some of the challenges and how they have been for the most part overcome, placing the conglomerate on track for major strides over the next 2 years.
Yeah, so in 2021 when we started the project, after the President gave us this opportunity, we started a double ranch with Alex Mendez, who was very helpful in getting us to this phase. As you know, we started in the first year, we did about 115 acres of soybean, 5 acres of corn of varying varieties. And then government gave us a piece of land after we'd done that trial for 1 year. We got a piece of land just southwest of that location in March 2022, and we started to build the facility in April 2022. It took about 10 weeks to build the Marshall yard, and then we planted in June of that year. We only had planted 500 acres, and then obviously we planted recently 1,000 acres, which we just harvested. From those early times, we have learned a lot. We had our constraints, as you know, the weather, transportation, the logistics, relying on trucks and so on, where the road wasn't so great. So even on the end of July 2022, the road was still impassable, but thankfully with the help of the ministry and the government, we were able to, that's completed, and the road is beautiful all the way from Linden to Tacama Landing. So anyone who invests in that area, whether it be forestry or agriculture, would have very good roads from farm to market. Further to that, we were able to test new fertilizers. We did find some new interesting things, and so with those things and with the increased yields, our group has been really happy with what we've seen. We've gotten help from the bank, so the bank has now given us a loan so that we could start to really develop with the machinery that we need. Obviously, we only had one combine. Combines available locally don't have the same rash bar that we need, so there's no combine in Guyana that will actually support our operation if anything happens to this one. So we can't continue like that with the sprayer and the combine only having one is not really a good position to be in if anything was to happen to them. So we have to invest in those pieces of equipment and others. We're also excited that the project with the silo and drying facility at the Tacama Landing that the ministry has invested in for all the producers in the region is almost finished. Just the electrics left and some road works on the fence.
Looking ahead to 2025, Mr. Fernandez said Guyana will be well along on the path to self-sufficiency in the production of corn and soybean, a fact that will signal also not 25, but 50% reduction of import costs in this regard. This will translate to approximately $25 million in savings.
So what we plan to do, so in the design of our project, we decided that once we got to this phase of planting, because now, as you said, we'll plant 3,000 acres in this crop. Obviously, 500 acres would be corn, and the rest would be soybean. Now, the intention is for us to do 2,500 acres every single crop in addition. So that means we'll be, again, at the end of this year when we plant again in October, November, we'll be planting another 2,500 acres, added to be doing 5,500 acres. And then by 2025, we'll be up to 15,000 acres. Obviously, we will be in control of everything we do and make sure that we could actually justify doing this without it becoming a problem. But that is where we think we will be by 2025. Now, in 2025, if we were to do one crop a year of 15,000 acres for soybeans, we would be able to have enough soybean from that crop to reduce our imports by 50%. if we were to plant the next crop in that same year with corn, we'd be able to reduce the corn imports by 50%. So the goal of our government is to reduce our imports, not only in Ghana but in CARICOM by 25% by 2025. The stock feeds alone, once the production remains stable and we don't have a tremendous influx of people with increasing demand, we should be able to reduce our imports of all major raw materials for feed by 50%, which is significant because where we save is we save on the high cost of freight. Because obviously producing it closer to our farms reduces the freight cost significantly. Obviously the farm the selling price will be based on the world market price, as is all commodities being sold in the world market. So that's kind of like where we want to be, and I think that with everything in place, I think we'll attain that, we'll achieve that goal. And obviously, there are other partners as well, other companies producing, and so that will only add to us becoming more self-sufficient in a more rapid manner. As obviously there's Santa Fe, there's Joe Hill in the Rupununi, and there's now an Argentine company, and I'm sure because the road is now better, we'll have the design facility and the storage facility, the river, but more people will come, more people who have money, have the know-how, they will want to be a part of this, and I think if that is done, then we'll achieve the goal as set out by the President, and we will even achieve the goal in terms of meeting greater supply for even CARICOM brothers and sisters.
Speaking recently at a meeting with residents of Ants Grove on the east coast of Demerara, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa had said government is excited at the progress being made on the mega farm and referred to government's investments in the project.
As it stands now, we are producing roughly 60% of the food that we are consuming. But we as a government, we want to produce more. That is why what we have been producing, we are expanding, and those areas that we are importing, those foods that we are importing, we want to start produce those foods. That is why we have started and we went into new crops, things like corn and soya. Corn and soya every single year. We are expending between 30 to 60 million US dollars to import those commodities. Now we are looking to produce that. And in another 2 years, Guyana will be self-sufficient in producing all its corn and soya. Because we have started the production of corn and soya in the intermediate savanna. We started to build facilities there. And in another 2 months, those facilities, 2-3 months, those facilities, and Lionel from NDIA is here now, and we will deal with the NDIA issues. In another 2 to 3 months, we'll have those facilities complete, and then we can have more facilities there to produce.
Sowing of the 3,000 acres of soybean for the second crop this year will begin in June, with harvest set for September.